Hello, all my role-playing peeps. As you can clearly see that I did get my screen sharing working. I don't know why it started working. It just started working. I was going to use Google Hangouts and do this over on YouTube, but I gotta wait 24 hours for my live stream to be active on my YouTube account, which makes no sense whatsoever, but that's YouTube. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on Facebook, and I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to transfer it over. I'm just going to download it and just post it over there, which is no problem, but from now on, I probably will do a live over there. But what I'm going to do now is, well, unfortunately, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but when I start the live stream, I start to screen share, my camera doesn't work. So you're not going to be able to see my beautiful face, but that's fine. I can actually pull some stuff up here and actually show you guys exactly some of the things I'm going to be taking as Milo, some things like that that's going to be going on, maybe some creatures, some of the creatures that we actually fought, things like that. Okay, now just letting you know, just a little disclaimer. I do own these books. I do own them through Scribe. I do pay for a Scribe account, and I've downloaded the majority of these books. I do have them on actual PDF form. Okay, so that's what you're going to be seeing here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to, as you can clearly see here, all my different role-playing stuff that D&D books and different things of that nature in my collection of memes and stuff. But we're going to go over to 3.5. We're going to click on the 3.5 of the books. And the first book that I'm going to pull up is going to be the Player's Handbook. Ta-da, the Player's Handbook. So we're going to scroll on down here a little ways, and we'll go to Bard. Okay, so, and we're going to start here, Bard. So, what happened last night at our D&D game? Remember we left everybody off. We were in the forest of death and destruction and doom. We were at Baba Yaga's little hut, who graciously allowed us to actually stay the night. So we stayed the night there. Luckily, nothing attacked us or anything like that. We wake up the next morning, the cleric is up and running, and Fred actually gives a recap of everything that happens. I actually went to come into the game a little bit late last night, so they went ahead and started. They didn't get too far before I actually went to joining the game. They gave, I do know what happened. They gave a little insight to the cleric on exactly what's all that happened, a little recap. He Fredified it, of course. But the next morning, Baba Yaga wished us well and sent us on our way. So we left, even though that it was daytime, morning. Just the way this enchanted forest that we were in actually gave us, it was black. We actually couldn't see, so we had to have lit torches, things of that nature. So we start heading toward this. Baba Yaga told us that there was a lumberjack cabin not too far from her, about 3/4 of a day to a day's travel away from hers. But from there, we would be able to get to the temple. You remember from previous videos, the temple that we're actually trying to get to. Baba Yaga also told us that the actual bandits that actually had dealt with Milo's stuff actually was here. They've been raiding and things of that nature. So we start traveling. When we start traveling, we actually get into a fight with a gray ooze. We effectively dispatched the gray ooze pretty quickly. Now, mind you, we were only about 225 or so XP away from getting that second level. Now, when we done that, this is when Milo starts to become a badass. So I went over here to complete psionics, which this is here, and I decided to take my first level of ardent. And essentially what an ardent is, they are a psionic class, so they do get a couple of power, they do get power points, they do get powers and things like that, but their powers are dependent on what mantles they actually pick. And unlike normal psionic classes, their primary stat is wisdom instead of intelligence. Now, because of the wisdom, I have a 17 wisdom for Milo. So that gives him a +3 bonus, which is great. Okay? Which means my spell DC, my manifestor DC to resist my powers, things like that, is 10 plus power level plus the Ardent's wisdom modifier. So right now, just from right off the bat, it's 14. So that's great. So, but basically what the Ardent basically is a psionic class that takes on philosophies, whatever his personal philosophies are, or things that's happened to him in his past, things like that, define him. And that's what was representative of the mantles, which is right here, that you actually take on. Now, at level 1, you get 2 different mantles. The first mantle that I took, let me go bring up the mantles here and we'll just go over those real quick. Let's see. Mantles. Feet. Lurk. Mantles, 66. So, we're going to go over here to mantles. See here you got the lurk powers, things like that. Okay? So we got mantles, which is right here. We've got chaos, communications, corruption and madness, creation, conflict, death, communication, deception, destruction, evil, elements, fate, force, energy, freedom, knowledge, good, guardian, law, justice, life, light and darkness, magic, mental, natural world, the planes, repose, pain and suffering, physical, and time. So, Milo picked 2. He picked pain and suffering. Now, on the pain and suffering here, now mind you, this is how the powers work. See these list of powers here that are listed? Those are the powers that I get, that I can choose to know at different levels. So, and I get 2 powers known. So, pain and suffering gives me disable. Basically, subject incorrectly believes they're disabled. Basically, what that means is if they fail their save, the target believes they are at 0 hit points, which means they may not be, but they believe that they're at 0 hit points. So they fall to the ground. Well, you can see I am getting I'm getting messages here. Now, but basically they falsely believe that they're actually at 0 hit points, which is they fall to the ground, they feel like they can't move, things like that. If they use any healing on themselves, it's wasted. But if they take any kind of action that will cause them to lose the 1 hit point because they're at 0, like what would happen, it breaks it. Or if they get attacked or something like that, it breaks it. Okay, but that wasn't the main reason why I took it. I took it because the power that's granted. The power that's granted does this. I can, as a immediate action, I can expend my psionic focus. Now, if I'm psionically focused, which I have to be able to cast any kind of manifest any kind of powers, as an immediate action, I can expend my psionic focus, and the next melee attack that deals damage to me, the target takes damage equal to half the damage it deals. Okay, so basically, I can, if somebody's going to kill me, I can, if they deal enough damage, I can have it kill them too, if that makes sense. So I took pain and suffering, and pain and suffering is going to represent in Milo's life, basically when the thugs came and killed his parents and destroyed his home and everything like that. There's that pain and suffering that actually happened to him. So I took pain and suffering, and I also took mental. Now, mental provides me with an attack power called mind thrust. Mind Thrust is this deals a D10 damage per power point that I spend. Now, with Psionic powers, you can augment your powers depending on how many power points you actually pour into it. Okay, but the big thing, the reason why I took this one was my mental powers. It allows me for purposes of determining additional power points, probably having a high wisdom score. I do it at 2 points higher. So I go from a 17 to a 19 when determining my power point totals. Let's say I'm trying to squeeze as many power points as I possibly can out of the few levels that I'm actually going to be taking of this class. Okay. Now I got 2 powers known, and I chose Mind Thrust. Well, only ones I could choose was Mind Thrust and Disable. Okay. So I took that at level 2. Now we took. Oh, that's not good. Let's not do that. All right. So that's the second level that I actually took. Was Ardent. So I'm level 1 Bard, level 1 Ardent. Now, Ardent only has a hit dice of a 6. So what happened was, 0 here, 6. What happened was our DM, I asked my DM, some DMs will allow you to do full hit points every level, things like that. She didn't. She goes, just roll and add your con bonus. Whatever it is what you get. All right. So I had 7 hit points at level 1. Because she allowed us to have max hit points at level 1, but from then on, you got to roll. So she made me roll. So I rolled a d6, and I got a 1. So I've got 8 hit points plus my con mod. So I've got 9 hit points at level 2. So awesome. This will come into play in just a second when we get a little farther into the story. So we are moving along, and we stick our rogue and our ranger out front. We're traveling on this road, and either looking for traps, things like that. Well, they start finding traps. They start finding footprints. They start finding evidence of someone's been down this path and somebody's setting traps for us. We found a pretty heavy-duty arrow trap, a heavy crossbolter trap. Basically, crossbow. This is not Star Wars. Crossbow. Basically, it was 3 on one side and 3 on another side, all pointed in the middle. So basically, you get 6 attacks against 1 person. So pretty massive. So we set those off and safely and stuff like that. And we eventually travel, and we finally find this cabin. So last night's game wasn't too long. We find this cabin, fairly good sized cabin. We start going around the cabin a little bit, and we start actually hearing. Actually, our ranger actually winds up hearing a conversation on the inside. Come to find out, these guys are trying to find meat for their boss for some reason. So we're on, okay. So what we do is we set up ready actions. Everybody but Fred set ready actions at the door with either bows or crossbows or whatever. So ranged weapons. So Fred goes and sneaks up to the door, gets on the corner of the door, and knocks. He knocks. Milo screams out, "Housekeeping!" So we hear some rumbling around on the inside. Fred knocks again. No answer. Fred knocks again. And Fred finally says, "It's the last time he's going to knock." Well, about that time, the door swings open. When the door swings open, we launch our arrows, and a hail of arrows come back at us. Okay. So our arrows go in, and we pepper a couple of guys. When their arrows come out, Milo gets hit and gets dealt 10 damage. He's got 9 health, so he gets dealt 10 damage. He, boom, drops to -1. Milo goes down. Milo did hit a guy, though, but Milo goes down. He's not dead yet. He's at -1. You only die when you get to -10. So he's at -1. They start exchanging some arrows back and forth. Luckily, in the first round, The cleric was standing right next to me. He reaches down and touches me and cures me, gets me back up to 6 hit points. So we start exchanging blows back and forth with arrows. Finally, we see the boss. And before that, Fred actually steps inside and splats a dude in one shot. Blam, boom, gone. He'd already been peppered once already, and then Fred steps in and steps to the side, so he's in the door and off to the side, so we're not going to worry about hitting him. And he hits the dude and basically splatters him. And Fred sees the leader of this group, which is the guy that actually led the thugs that actually killed Milo's parents, destroyed his home and things like that. Sees him, and he's beginning to shift. He is a were creature of some kind. And essentially what he does, he's a were crocodile. We can't, the description of the video here, he's a were crocodile. And it takes him a round or two to actually shift. So he's shifting. The other 15 dudes that are with him are were rats. So they start shifting and stuff like that while they're shooting their crossbows and stuff like at us. So we're exchanging. A lot of arrow and crossbow fire comes flying back and forth. Now, mind you, Fred got hit several times and had to be healed. Well, we did have a character death. Okay, we'll get to that here in just a second. So Milo moves to the corner of the door on the outside. So he's on the side. So he still has complete cover, but he's on the side. Fred realizes that there's too many people here, and his rage is giving him a -2 to his AC. So it's making him a little bit easier to hit. So he steps back outside on the other side of the door. When me and Fred Milo starts leaning in and throwing either his throwing axes or something along those lines at these guys, and we start taking them out one by one. Now, mind you, they're shooting at us, dealing damage when it's not no one-sided fight by no means. So, finally, this Were Crocodile actually ends up, he finishes shifting. When he finishes shifting, our ranger moves in. Now, mind you, at this time, Milo does use his Inspire Courage ability, which is right here, which provides everybody, let me find it here, blah, 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 blah. Inspire Courage gives everyone +1 on sacred charm and fear effects, and gives everyone a +1 morale bonus on attack and weapon damage, which is a big thing at this low level. So they're exchanging shots back and forth, things like that. Finally, let me bring up what I had here for the crocodile. I lost it. But I posted a picture of it anyway on the like page, so you should be able to see it. But anyway, when he starts moving from the back end of the cabin up, our ranger sees him. And a ranger decides to take a pop shot at him. He takes a pop shot. He's specifically aiming for his head. There's a call shot. Basically, all the negatives together, he's got like a negative. He's got like has like a +2 to hit or +1 to hit, something like that. Anyway, he rolls and gets a 20. He gets a critical. Now, mind you, what this does is it gives this guy a -6 to his charisma, makes him sickened for 2 minutes, sorry, which basically gives him, that's for 20 rounds, basically. He's dazed, things like that. So he's in bad shape. Now, mind you, we're trying to take care of the were rats. The only one attacking the were crocodile is the ranger, and the ranger is just pop, 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 just raining in. It basically keeps aiming for that head, and he keeps popping him, popping him, popping him. He keeps hitting him every turn. This ranger does not miss a hit. All night long, he never missed. Basically, he gave this were crocodile a crown of arrows in the head. That's how many times he hit him. He hit him 8, 9 times in the head. So we wind up actually taking down the majority of the were rats. Milo actually ends up, Milo switches from his throwing axes and stuff like that, switch over to his whip dagger. This were crocodile gets close enough to the door where he's within range of the whip. So Milo steps out and looks him over, and he does see this big cleaver on his side. So Milo tries to disarm him. The guy rolls with the opposing disarm is the guy only rolls a 1. So he fails this opposed disarm completely. And Milo rolls 20, guy rolls 1, Milo disarms it and flings it back out, and it lands and embeds itself in a tree about 30 yards behind us. So the were crocodile's mad. He is extremely angry. So what he does is he picks up one of the were rats and uses them as a weapon and hurls it at us. Well, it comes flying through the door, and our elf rogue, which was in range of this dude, takes the damage, gets hit. And when he's in his were crocodile form, he's got a 29 strength, so that's like a +9 to strength bonus. And this guy dealt with everything on him, this creature flinging and frailing and things like that, dealt a D6 per. It wound up being 3d6 damage plus his strength mod. That deals to the were rat and to whoever he hits. Well, our elf fails his reflex save to dodge this, and gets hit and gets dealt, and it's actually a crit. This guy had to roll to hit, and the were crocodile rolls a 20, and winds up dealing like 30 some points of damage to the rogue. Boom, knocking him out. He is down. He is below -10. He is dead. So everybody basically wound up focusing fire on the were crocodile. We ended up now the MVP of the night was the ranger Parker, the halfling ranger, because he dealt at least 60 points of damage to this were crocodile before Fred and Milo or the Claire even started hitting it. So that's all he done was focused on the were crocodile while we were actually taking out the were rats. So he steps out. We wind up hammering the piss out of this were crocodile, and in one turn, once he stepped out, we killed it. So we check on the rogue. The rogue is dead. So we take his body inside the cabin, and we take our time and loot the cabin, bodies, everything like that. So we find some gold. We wind up finding out that the cleaver that Milo disarmed, the cleaver is actually a vorpal, treating it kind of like a battle axe. So it does D10 damage. So it's a vorpal battle axe that we have. We have that, and we have, I think we ended up with like 600 gold, 500 or 600 gold. And we found a ring. The ring is a silver band ring. Now, mind you, this was all rolled. I watched the DM do this roll for actual treasure. It was a gold ring with 3 red rubies on it. 1 red ruby looks like it was cracked. It was a ring of wish. This was all straight rolled right from the DMG. We got a ring of wish. So we used one of the wishes to bring the rogue back to life. Okay. Now, where he had participated in 90% of the actual battle, the DM allowed the rogue to actually keep the XP that we got. So when we got enough XP to get to level 3, because we basically were fighting 16 opponents and we nearly got killed ourselves. Now, when we done that, Milo did take his 3rd level, and he took his 3rd level of Fighter, which is here. Now, basically, I got a D10 health. I got a handful of skills. I got a craft, and I think Intimidate was the only two extra skills that I got. Oh, over here with Psionics, over here with Ardent, I did pick up Auto Hypnosis and Psycraft, also, and Heal, and another Knowledge and a Profession. So Knowledge, of course, I picked up Psionics. Profession, I picked up, I can't remember what I got with Profession. But I got Auto Hypnosis and Psycraft. Psycraft is being able to identify psionic powers and abilities, things like that. Auto Hypnosis is a cool power. We'll go over that later in another video. But I picked up Fighter. Yay, I got Fighter. I got my first +1 to base attack. I got another +2 to Fortitude, and I got a bonus feat. That's Fighter bonus feat. But where I'm level 3, I also got 2 feats. This is the reason why I took Fighter at level 3, which allowed me essentially to get 2 feats. So what I done was I picked up, these are the 2 feats here that I picked up. Let me find it here. I picked up Weapon Finesse. I got a base attack bonus +1, where I'm a fighter now. I can do that. I picked Whip. And essentially what it does is allows me to substitute my strength, I substitute my dexterity for my strength when it comes to making melee attacks. So I have no strength bonus. I have a +0 strength bonus, but I have a +4 to my dex. So that means I add that to actually making attack rolls now when it comes to using my whip. And I picked up Weapon Focus, which was my other feat that I picked up. I picked up Weapon Focus. Whip gives me a +1 on all my attacks I make using the selected weapon. So I went from having a +1 basically to hit with my whip, just because I'm my +1 size bonus. I got a +1 size bonus now. I've got a +1 base attack bonus, which is 2. We're at 2 now. I have Weapon Finesse, which lets me use my dex, which is a 4. So I go from I get a +4, +1, +1. That's +6. And I get another additional +1 because of my Weapon Focus. So now I instantly go from only a 1 to hit to a +7 to hit in one single level, which makes the whip a little more viable to use in combat now. Before, I was kind of relying on just using my bow, and that's about it. And of course, I got a D10 health. I got an 8 with a +1, so I got 9 health total. I had 9 health to start with. I got another 9, so I'm at 18 health right now when it comes. So level 3, it's still kind of on the low side, but we're still doing good. Okay. Now my next level will be another level of Ardent, which is here. And on the next level, I do get another Psychic Mantle. Now with the next Psychic Mantle that I'm going to be taking, I'm having a hard time choosing. I'm either going to choose Time, which gives me a +2 to my initiative checks. I can extend my Psionic Focus to all onset 1 damage attack or effect. Basically, I take it the next round instead of this round, which can be interesting. Let's just put it that way. I can do that one. Well, I can do any of these, but I got to pick up something that identifies as Milo. Okay, let me see where we're setting out on time. We're setting at 30 minutes. Woo. So we'll go over just a couple more minutes here, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm either going to do that one, or I might actually do, well, I actually thought I might do Energy, which would basically allow me to do Energy Ray or Energy Push. But the granted ability isn't that great. I might do Force because giving me some armor and things like that. This might represent Milo's ability to always deflect a verbal attack at him. He's the quick-witted. He is the guy that constantly talks back. He's the smart aleck kind of thing. So this is that whole deflecting his armor. He's always got his shield up. He's always got his armor up kind of thing. Either that, or I might actually do freedom, because he is neutral evil, so he is all about no one's going to hold me down kind of thing. I do get dimensional hop, which is a pretty cool ability, and the instant move action through hustle, so, which is pretty cool. So that's actually what happened. We wound up camping there for the night. Now, mind you, this was a 16 enemy battle, which took us about 2.5, almost 3 hours to do. Which I didn't leave there until like 12:30 last night, so it was pretty late. But that's where we ended. We decided to rest. Everybody was a lot of get our spells back, things like that. So we were moving forward. Our cleric actually got to level 2. He's got a little more spells there. I do know that I am taking. I've not went to actually level 2 in any of these other classes yet, but I will. I'm just setting up with what I've got right now. I've got to do a setup. Once Milo gets to like levels 5 or 6, he will start to become a mean little combat man when in battles. So I'm going to leave you right there, and I'm just going to leave you with this. Just let you know that I am a GM, but I'm also a player, and I am here for you.